so much to Queen Brown for those incredible words. It's a tough act to follow. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hannah Siegel. I am the president and co-founder of the Youth Coalition to End Gun Violence. Thank you. But I am also a senior in high school. Thank you. And like every good senior, I have a countdown to my last day in class. The last day I have before I graduate and move on to the next phase of my life. Now, in case you're wondering, it's 126. But as a senior, I also have the unique privilege to look back on my time as a student and think about what I've accomplished. Was it enough? Did I pay attention? Did I create an experience in a time that I would be proud to remember when I go off into the world and continue my career? But I'm not just here today as a senior, I'm also here as an activist. And as an activist, I'm confronted by those same questions. As we all know, today is January 19th, and next month, we will come upon the 1-year anniversary of the Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School shooting, where 13 students and 4 educators had their lives ripped away from them. And right here in this park, we stand 10 minutes from Pulse nightclub, where what was once the worst mass shooting in American history took place. In 1959, on April 18th, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who we honored here today earlier, spoke to a crowd of 26,000 high school students, rallied in the nation's capital to defy school segregation and stand up for a better nation. Dr. King took time to lend his wisdom to these students, and he told them, "I look out into this sea of faces, thousands of young people, and I see only one face, the face of the future." Now, as a young person and through the Youth Coalition, I've had incredible opportunities to stand against gun violence. I've had the opportunity to travel to San Jose, Costa Rica, the Lower East Side of New York City, to talk with other youth about how to confront gun violence. Because as Queen mentioned, gun violence doesn't just occur in schools or in synagogues. It's occurring in the streets all over this country and in fact the world. When I went to Costa Rica, the students there were concerned about us, not themselves. We've accomplished a lot in this last year of organizing. Among other things, we passed the largest gun reform bill in the history of the state of Florida. With the help of every activist here and the movement across the country. We also flipped the House to a gun sense majority, a body that has now introduced what could be the single most impactful piece of gun legislation in my lifetime, a bill to expand universal background checks. So as I stand here and I look back on what we've accomplished in this past year, I see how far we've come. But I also know that it isn't enough. Today, I am thinking of women like Carly Cronin, a 35-year-old woman murdered in broad daylight in Ocala by a domestic abuser, a man who had a criminal record and should never have been able to purchase a firearm. I think of women like Ruby Steplight, an 83-year-old grandmother gunned down while making dinner for her grandchildren right here in Pine Hills, and her 14-year-old granddaughter laying bleeding beside her. We have so much more work to do to protect the people within our communities. But just like Dr. King so many years ago, I look out in this crowd of people, and I also see the face of the future. Nearly 1 month ago, on December 17th, 2018, a young man named Alexandro Vargas was shot and killed while walking to Boone High School. He was just 15 years old, right here in Orlando. But I won't ask you for a moment of silence. Instead, I'll ask you to stand up and end the silence that has been plaguing this community and everyone in Florida. Let's ensure that when we come back here in 2020, we've accomplished what we've set out to do. And that when we look back on this moment in history, like Dr. King, we are proud of what we have accomplished. So I tell every student in this audience and every parent and every supporter, the kind of power that young activists have attained in this movement is not limited to us. It is accessible to every single person in this audience. So seek out a grassroots network, visit the booths over there. Join the movement to save our lives and protect our children. End this silence.